So today you're going to be looking at the graphic novel version of Frankenstein. You've been reading a novel form of Frankenstein, and you should have read chapter 1 last week. And then one of your assignments this week is to read chapters 2 through 4. You also are going to look at the graphic novel through chapters 1 through 4. So I want you to analyze basically the same story in a different format. That's the purpose of this assignment. So when you read a graphic novel, for those of you that have never read one, there are a couple of things that I need to show you. So this is what the graphic novel looks like. It'll start here, and the actual novel starts on page 3 with the introduction. It says Mary Shelley's classic Frankenstein was first published in 1818. It was written in the days before steam travel, when the world seemed much bigger than it does today. Only the bravest adventurers could visit distant places and discover the secrets they held. It was possible that there could be things created by humans, that would terrify anyone who saw them. Science was progressing extremely quickly, and it seemed that anything and everything was possible as humans found new and powerful ways to create and to destroy. At the same time, medicine was finding new ways to cure sick people and to make people live longer. This raised questions about the nature of life itself. For example, if a dying man could be saved and brought back to life, could a dead man also be brought back to life? What about a dead person made from the parts of other dead people? Could a creature like that be given life as well? Where would it end? Would it go too far? Indeed, the early days of scientific advances, anything and everything seemed possible. So, just a little side note, I want you to remember that during Mary Shelley's life, before she created Frankenstein, she was obsessed with reading all the new scientific discoveries and the advances that were taking place in the scientific community. So, these were actual questions that were, being discussed um, in her societal circles, like with all of her friends and stuff. They were discussing the ethics of science and how this advancement and these progress is being made. Like, what would be considered too far, and could anything be considered too far in the name of science? So she puts those questions into her book. So back to the graphic novel. When you see the graphic novel, some of the pages um, will look like this. There's some pages where the whole panel is one, the whole page is one panel. Okay, so each picture that's defined by an outline of white is considered a panel. All right, and so it's like one piece or paragraph of the story. And within each panel, you will find the written word that tells the story. So when you're looking at a graphic novel, you examine the pictures just like you did when you were little with a picture book, and then you read the words to see what's happening. All right, so on the next page, you see, um, you remember this is a PDF of an actual book. So this part right here over to the left is one page, and then this part over here is one page. And it's important to remember that because when you're reading a graphic novel, you still go left to right, but you make sure that you read all of one page, which would be this left side version, before you move over to this side. So on this page alone, there are 3 panels or sections that you have to read before you move to the top of this page. So again, left to right, but you go top to bottom before you move to the right side. Okay, and then I'm going to show you a couple more because there's different ways for them to do it. And again, here, this side is a page, and then this side is a page. So there's a big panel, but then there's 2 smaller panels. So you would read left across this picture. Sorry, you would read this picture, see what's happening in the frame and what's happening in the words, and then you would go down and you would read this frame here on the left, and then this frame, and then go down to these words and then this frame. That's the order that the author wants you to read it in. So some of the things that you're going to be looking at in the graphic novel is comparing the story between the written text version and the graphic novel, and thinking about how the author with the graphic novel uses the imagery, uses the colors, the expressions in the people's faces. So not just the words, but he uses all those things to get his message across, to create the mood, and to add different levels of imagery to your experience as the reader. So those are some of the things you're going to be looking at. And when you go to do the questions are going to look like this. And on each of the questions, I have put the page number that you will find that question. So even though chapter 1 begins on page 3, where I just read you the introduction, the first question is on page 5. Now, I still want you to read page 4 before you get to page 5. Let me go back there. So I read page 3 to you, and that's about, the ethics of science. You're going to read page 4, which is the one with the ship, before you get to page 5, where I'm asking you a question about this part right here. So make sure that you pay attention to the details of my question. Also, some of the questions are asking you more than one thing. Please make sure you answer all the things being asked. One good way to do this is to go back after, read the question, answer it, and then go back and read the question again to make sure that you've answered all that's being asked of you. Some of them ask you to provide evidence and explanation from the text. That's saying, please go into the text and find where you got that idea. Give me an explanation of where in the graphic novel did you find that. So, what was said, what did the picture have in it that really made you come to that conclusion. So, let me know if you have any questions, and good luck.